Absolutely. We point out it's way
life.
worse now under basically leftist communist rule. It doesn't mean apartheid's good. It's just that communism's infinitely worse, and that at least there was infrastructure for people, and now they're a slave of communism, much worse than they were under that. And we see the same story happening here. Now, looking at America, because you're quite, have the background, and I've read about Elon's background with Dutch, and then also Dutch, here in the United States. And, also famous other scientists, and actually I've read one of the inventors of the theory of technocracy, which is a little different than the current deployment of technocracy, but it still means, basically centralized under technocrats. It's interesting. What is your family background? And then, I've read some of it is in America, or maybe that's Elon's mom, your former wife. But I find that interesting. What are your ties or her ties to America? And then your view of America and American exceptionalism, and can that be brought back? Is it being brought back? In 250 years, the left's trying to demoralize it, act like the problems are all the Bill of Rights, Constitution, the American system. The American system became the apple of the world's eye, and the most inventions and developments, and then now we've gotten away from it, and that's the problem. But the media is selling the idea that it's time to get rid of the Bill of Rights, Constitution, that America's bad, get rid of the American flag. There's clearly that agenda to replace it with the WFUN leftist model. So what is your overall cosmology and connection to America, and what's your view on it? And also Russia, because I know you were in South Africa. You've been flying for 70-something hours. You were telling me, now you're in Eastern Europe and Prague. Just overall, where is the new Renaissance? What is the West? What is America? I know that's a mouthful.
Look, America is still exceptional. There's no question about that. America has a long way to go before it becomes not exceptional.
Yeah, so anybody that thinks America is no longer exceptional, all they need to do is just to swap with someone, right? I'm sure they will have someone that will happily swap with them. So you can go to a third world country and then exchange your place with someone in a third world country. Let them come to America in your place. And then let's see how you feel about that. I think that will put that to bed real quick. What do you think?
Whatever the word that you use, exceeds itself. America is still a wonderful country that exceeds itself in everything. So I don't think we have to be completely worried there. I think, as I said earlier, that these crazies that we've given a chance to express themselves, like it's being done now with the democratic socialists, they've been exposed. Everybody's aware of the fact that they're a bunch of losers who are pretending that they know what they're doing, and so
con men.
I don't worry about them. Yes, con men and anarchists, and if taking the approach, if I can't do well, then I'll make sure that everybody else can't do well either. Those kind of people. And I don't think you need to worry about it. I think America is coming out of it. And of course, the election of Donald Trump was a very big sign of that. And, as far as the other countries you mentioned, South Africa.
Did he just say that Donald Trump being elected is a big sign of America being on its way to recovery? I don't know how I agree with that. I get that his son worked closely with Donald Trump with the Doge and all that, but I really question that, right? Donald Trump, the guy that has started the war in the Strait of Hormuz, right, with Iran, the guy that claimed that he was going to stop the war in Ukraine in 24 hours, but he never stopped it. The guy that went to Venezuela and snatched up Nicolas Maduro, that guy. How is that helping America recover? He's made the guy that is threatening Canada, Greenland, threatening Canada with the 51st state, the guy that is tariffing everybody, all of America's allies. And that is somehow the right path. Maybe, because actually he's probably making some revenue for America. So I guess that right there was America first, right? But what about the wars? Is that America first? I don't think so. Unless you can explain to me how the war in Iran is actually favors America, then I'll listen. I'll be all ears.
Got a bigger problem than America at the moment. But if you go back over to Russia, for example, you made a mention about Russia. They are experiencing a renaissance. Russia is capitalism on steroids. They don't want any socialism. They have no interest in socialism whatsoever. And they are very energetic, the most energetic crowd of people and good-looking people that I've ever come across or seen in my entire life. The country is spotlessly clean. The facilities are way over what any comparable sized cities. I went to maybe 8 cities of Russia by now. They are so much better than any comparable American city. Moscow is by far the most beautiful capital city in the world, not by a small margin, by a large margin. And, it's sad because I remember as a young boy, I would go to Washington, D.C., and immediately it occurred to me they tried to make Washington, D.C. look like ancient Rome. And they succeeded in many ways. But in recent times, Washington, D.C. has been overrun by crimes and what they've now done to the reflecting pool and they pull down the statues. But it will all go away because the grass roots of America are very strong, very, very strong. And I see that with my
See, looking at here, is this Russia or is this America? Curious. If I were to guess, I would say America. Actually, no, I'll say Russia. Russia. What do you guys think? Where do you think these people are? Let me know down in the chat. Where do you think these people are? Russia, America?
I've got a lot of family there. I've got a lot of friends there, and I see that. So I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about it. I think I would have been worried a few years ago when Biden was in the president or whatever the hell he was, frontman or whatever he was. I was really wondering what on earth is going to happen.
Well, no one can argue that it's not one big part of the American Renaissance has been Trump, but Elon, I mean, he's made the U.S. his main base, and the amount of jobs right here in Austin, I mean, I got to say, half the jobs he's got businesses and operations and warehouses and companies, North Austin, South Austin, East Austin, it's everywhere. It's wild.
Yes, and Elon is the kind of person who puts everything back. So he's your ideal partner. He's your ideal business partner because he puts everything back. He doesn't take anything. He lives on he treats himself worse than the person he treats the worst in the world is himself. He's very hard on himself and denies himself everything, and if he can do without something, he'll do without it. So you don't get people very often like that. So, he wants to make it bigger and bigger and get better and better. And I think it's wonderful, really, and I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, I'm proud of
I'll be proud of my son too, right? I'm proud of my son regardless of money. Like, it's not about money, but honestly, just the impact that Elon has had on the world, right? The jobs he has created, the technological advancements that he has brought about what is that, like, politics aside and conspiracy theories aside, like, what is there not to be proud about with Elon? Like, he is a stellar scientist, right? People will say he's not really a scientist. He just pays people to do it and all that stuff, right? And maybe that's true. But you know what? His name is on those things. So that's it. That's who history is going to remember. I think a lot of people talked about Tesla as well, Nikola Tesla. And apparently he didn't make his own things either. But you know what? Who do people remember today? I mean, maybe if you're part of the niche scientific group, then you would know the real people or whatever. But the general populace, we're going to just remember like the one that was public. And the one that we know the face of these companies is Elon. So unfortunately, like that's just how it is. Even at your job, right? Like, usually whenever they're giving credits, it's usually like the upper management and like the executives, right? The C-suits, they're the ones that get the credits. And then those of us, like the individual contributors, we just get a pat and hopefully like a pay raise.